used and what is the usage of the learning and outcomes of the unit, as well as we have gone through some examples and of your practical applications where your steam power plant and refrigeration, as well as the gas turbines in your jet propulsion. And also we have gone through the phase rule, how to identify the number of independent intensive properties which is required for the what do you call to identify the state of the system. We have gone through where the phase which is given is the gas phase rule, where P plus F is equal to C plus 2. So in that, if you want to find out the F value, that is degree of freedom or number of independent intensive properties which is required, we need to know number of phase and the component. Where you are going with the examples, we will be considering the component as 1, and the phase depends, as if we go with the vapor, it is only in a one phase. The number of intensive properties which is required is 2. And next you go with the two phase one, the water and vapor. So in that case, the number of intensive properties required is only 1. And if you go with the three phase one, so the number of intensive properties required is 0. So where all the three phases meeting at single point, where your liquid, solid and vapor which is meeting at a single point is known as a triple point. So where triple point is 0.01 degrees Celsius or 273.16 Kelvin. These are the things which I have learned. And coming to the first one, the definition of the pure substance, where any of the substance which you are going to consider, where if your phase is remaining same or maybe in your homogeneous, or if you have more than one phase also, the chemical composition is remaining same. Okay, that is nothing but we say it as a pure substance. Such a way, like if you consider vapor and a water, there the composition is remaining same, then it can be treated as a it is as a pure substance. And next, if you go with the three phase also, like solid, liquid and the vapor, okay, where if you consider vapor, next you consider water and vapor, and if you consider as a three phase solid, vapor and water, all in these three cases where your chemical composition is remaining same, so we say it as a pure substance. Okay, suppose if you consider vapor as well as or maybe a water and air. Okay, so in this case the composition is different, so we cannot say this as a pure substance. It doesn't comes under a pure substance. Okay, and thing is, the example which you consider another one, like air. Air, if you consider, it consists of number of gases like oxygen, carbon dioxide, argon and all. So in that, air can be treated as a pure substance until unless its phase is remaining same, because air will be in a single phase itself. It's not going to change its phase. Okay, these are the topics which you have learned in yesterday's class. Now we'll move on to the actual diagrams of your pure substance, how the phase is changing, like phase diagrams you are going to learn, and how the things which you are learning in your metallurgy MMS, the phase diagrams, they are in carbon diagram and all those things. In similar case in a thermodynamics also, you will be learning your phase changes. Okay, such a like the liquid converting into your vapor. Yesterday we have gone through the examples like steam power plant, and the next is your refrigeration, that is your refrigerator, and next is your example of your jet propulsion. So all those cases in the most of the engineering applications which you are learning in your thermodynamics will be dealing with your steam. So here the main hero of this unit number 4 is water, the liquid, as well as it will be a main hero in your fluid mechanics also, where you will be dealing mostly with fluid itself, that is liquid. As in yesterday's class already I told you, one is your compressible, another one is incompressible. So what are incompressible and what are compressibles? Such a way, like if you consider example which I already given you in yesterday's class, if you consider what you call gas. Okay, if you fill the gas in the container, this gas will be completely filled into this container. It will occupy this space. based on the shape of the container, the gas shape will be there in the similar way. Even if you vary the shape, it occupies according to the shape of the container, the gas. Okay. This is the first example which you consider. And the next one, if you consider a liquid, if I take a liquid and fill this liquid in the container, these liquid also will occupy the container shape itself. Even you vary the shape of the container, it will occupy according to the shape of the container. But if you consider a solid, if you allow the solid to fall in onto this container, the shape of the solid will not change. Okay. And also I've given you another example by considering the PV diagram, where if you take it at two different pressures, one may be at 0.1 bar, another end at the 0.2 bar. If you compress the piston in your cylinder, when you are trying to compress, this is a case of an gas, air as a medium in that. So in that, when you are trying to compress, the volumetric change by the,
Hello?
yeah, hello, what's the problem? By the increase of your pressure, what is going to happen is like there will be a
Hello?
reduction in your volume, so that will be on and about of 50%. Okay, so this is for a case of a gas. And next, if you consider for your liquid, the same PV diagram, if you draw it for a liquid with the same pressure, the amount of variation in the reduction of your volume will be very few, that may be around 5 ppm or something. And similarly, if you consider for a solid, for the same PV diagram, if you take it at two different pressures, okay, and if you increase the pressure, where the reduction will also be more lower than your liquid, that will be around 3 ppm. Okay, so that is due to the intermolecular bonding between the in case of your solids, it will be tight and very packed. Due to the internal resistance which is generally present in that, it will try to resist. That's the case your reduction is low, and in case of your liquid is a similar one. And by the case of gases, the molecular activity will be higher, it will be dissipating easily. That's the case, it occupies, or the reduction is more in the volume. So here we say it as where your density is not going to remain over constant here. So this we say it as compressible fluid one, and next this one we say it as incompressible. Okay, where your density will remain constant in both the cases of your liquid and case of your solid. So here there will be a flow, and in this case the flow is difficult in case of your solids one. And more about in detail you will be learning in fluid mechanics. As of now, this is sufficient to have a difference about your compressible and incompressible. And mostly why we'll consider is liquid is it has main advantages. When you go with the gas, it actually follows your ideal gas, or if it is a real gas, it should follow a number of equations such as like van der Waals equations and all those equations. So it is very difficult to know the state of this. And when you go with the case of your liquids, there is no perfect equation to give you exactly the state of the liquid. So here it is also you have an advantage such a way like if you increase or decrease the temperature, the liquid can be converted into vapor, or else it also be converted into a solid as of ice. So there is a lot of advantage of considering a water as a medium. That is the case. Most of the examples will be considering as a liquid, where if you convert into the steam, the dynamic activity of that will be converting into the mechanical energy. So these are the things which we have learned in the previous class. I hope everyone is clear till here. Any doubts for anyone? Any doubts for anyone here till here?
No,
Right.
sir.
Now we'll move on to the phase diagram. Phase diagram of water by considering TV diagram. TV. That is, we'll take T in your y-axis and V the specific volume in terms of your x-axis. Okay, so to draw the TV diagram, Before that, we need to understand the concept of the phase diagram of your water. Then we can go into and jump into the direct diagram of your TV1 for the water. So before going into the concept, let us understand the actual concept. I'll be considering in your 3 to 4 different processes. Okay, let me call this as 1, 2, 3, 4. So the basic example is considering a cylinder, piston cylinder one. Okay, where I'm going to heat in 3 different cases. 4, right. Right. So in the first case, if you observe the figure, the liquid which is filled in the cylinder, okay, there is a piston over here, and here I'm going to give the heat continuously from the bottom. So when I'm going to give the heat continuously, what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to maintain the pressure as constant. Let me take if your pressure as an atmospheric one, 101 kPa. So this pressure I'm going to maintain as constant. That pressure will be constant. So when this pressure is constant, let me consider for the first case, if my liquid is present in this container, I'm going to heat it. Then what is going to happen? Please tell me. Yes, someone answer please.
Lid will
Huh?
piston will rise.
Yes, piston will rise. That is due to the heat which is generated in the container. Obviously, due to the increase in temperature, your piston will rise. Clear? So, usually this liquid, I mean, the fluid which is you consider is in a liquid state itself. So, the temperature was usually before as 20 degrees Celsius. 20 degrees Celsius. Okay. So second case, let me say the temperature has been reached on and about 50 degrees Celsius. Okay, the second case. So now again what I'm going to do is I'm still heating it continuously. Why? Because my main aim is to convert this liquid into steam. Okay. So this 50 degrees Celsius, is this temperature sufficient to convert this liquid into steam? Please answer someone.
No, sir. No.
So if it is not sufficient, what is I need to do? I need to heat continuously more till when? Till where I need to heat continuously?
100 degrees.
Yes, that is 99.96. Till I reach that particular temperature, I should heat continuously. So when it is heating continuously till this temperature reaching, then your liquid which is present in this container, as the temperature is heating, piston is rising more, and then it is reaching into the vapor state. So where does it starts converting your liquid into vapor? At this particular temperature. At this particular temperature, your boiling starts. So now my question is, at this particular temperature, when your boiling has started, is this the volume, let me say 1 liter of the liquid which is present, will that complete liquid which is present is converted into vapor at this particular temperature itself?
No, sir. One drop.
No. Yes, good. Because this temperature is only making you to convert into the vapor state. That is only a just initial state. It doesn't mean like at that particular temperature itself, it is not continuously converting into the vapor state at that particular temperature itself. So if I want continuously to convert complete liquid which is present here into the vapor one, I need to continuously increase my temperature. I mean, like it should convert completely. Okay. So just before here in the first case and second case till the third case, what I've done is like I have maintained the isobaric process. Only pressure I have maintained as constant. Only pressure I have maintained as constant. Is it clear till here?
Yes,
Is
sir.
it clear till here? Right. The next one, after the third case, I'm going to take two things to as constant. One is I'm going to maintain the pressure as constant, similarly, the isobaric one. And next, after this, when my temperature has reached continuously on to 99.96, I'm going to maintain the temperature as constant. Two properties are fixed. Two properties are fixed. Why I'm fixing this temperature is because as the liquid which was initially started its conversion into the vapor one, I have to maintain the same temperature continuously to convert all the liquid into the vapor one. So I'll fix the temperature. I'm not going to decrease or I'm not going to increase. Okay, is that clear?
Yes, sir.
So when these two properties are fixed and constant, you may get a doubt or question such a way like, so if these two properties are fixed, so what are the other properties are which are varying? In a previous case, only pressure is constant, temperature is varying, and due to that, obviously, the next one, your specific volume which I'm going to consider is varying. And here, when my pressure and temperature is going to maintain constant, the other property which is varying is your specific volume. Okay. So that thing will be varying continuously at this space. So now this is my fourth case where the liquid which was usually here, okay, in three cases, it has been continuously converted completely into vapor. My job is done. So this is your till fourth case. So in some cases, I require only till conversion of your liquid into the vapor phase continuously. But most of the engineering applications, I require this vapor which is usually converted is not sufficient to convert into the mechanical work continuously, where the dynamic activity which is present, it requires more to convert into more mechanical energy such that the work output which is produced will make your efficiency higher. Let me take for the same example which I given you in yesterday's class for the thermal power plant, where the liquid which is usually converted into the steam in the boiler and that steam is being collected into the turbine. If I want the turbine work to be higher, I need to increase the temperature of the vapor continuously. I need to convert this region into the superheated region. So when it has been converting into the superheated region, then the mechanical work which is produced will be higher. Obviously, your efficiency will be higher. So there will be a relation to calculate your work also. This work calculation, we will be learning in first law of thermodynamics. Based on the relation, at that moment you will understand why you are continuously heating more to get your more work output of the turbine, and you need to decrease the work of the compressor because pump is let's say like power absorbing device, turbine is nothing but power producing device. So here we need to produce a work, we should not absorb the work. So when your pump work is increasing, obviously your efficiency also will be coming down. So what are the best ways to increase your turbine and decrease the pump? Those we'll learn more in second law of thermodynamics. Okay. So as of now, so here as the fourth case is been completed, what I'll do is like, I'll go into the fifth case where the further vapor which is present over here, I will continuously heat. So previously the properties like pressure and temperature, which was usually fixed, was in the fifth case, your pressure remains same, but your temperature is not constant. It is not fixed now anymore. So this temperature will increase further. It may reach on to 110 degrees Celsius or 120, 130, till where there is one particular fixed point. Till that, the pressure or maybe a temperature, we need to convert it. And after that, we should stop heating continuously. Okay. So what is that point we'll learn in the graph now, in this TV diagram. Okay. If it is clear till here, then I'll project the concept into the TV diagram. Is it clear till here?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes,
Now
sir.
let me move. Yes, someone has got.
Nothing, sir.
Right. So moving on to the TV diagram over here, let me draw the phase change, how it is going to take place of your temperature versus your specific volume. So in the first case, as when my pressure is being fixed, what I'm going to do is like the temperature which has been present over there, which was initially at 20 degrees Celsius at this point, okay, it start raising, okay, and in the second case it was at 50, okay, further I have increased, now it has reached on to 99.96, okay, I've stopped at this where your liquid is starting boiling, and continuously I have made this temperature as constant, and here previously the pressure is continuously remaining same, which I already told you it is locked. Okay, so here the temperature is maintained constant as well as your pressure maintained constant, and next after this it is completely converted into vapor, and then next I am continuously heating more further. Okay, I stopped heating till here. Let me take it as 110 as an example. We do not know till where we need to stop. I've just taken an example. Okay, is it clear? Is it clear till here?
Yes, sir.
So this is the case which I have considered for the first case as pressure as 101 kPa. Okay, what I'm going to do is like next case, second one, this first case is done. Second case, I'm going to consider the pressure as let me take maybe around 200 kPa, 200. So just an example I'm telling you. So in that case, if my pressures are higher, obviously the curve which I'm going to get will be higher than the previous one. So this is a point which I'm going to start, and here I'm going to end up where your water is starting boiling here, and it is reaching to the phase where continuously reaching onto the vapor, and then it is starting further superheating more. Okay, with the same temperatures what you consider for the first case. Okay, next what I'm going to do is like I'm going to consider the other pressure, maybe about 300 kPa. Third case, this will be the curve which following the same concept, same temperatures, everything same. And next, further increasing more, let me take another pressure, maybe around 400 kPa. Okay, if you observe the length of this where your temperature is going to remain constant, but conversion of your liquid into vapor continuously, this is higher, and this becomes lower, and this becomes lower, and this becomes lower as your pressure is increasing. And finally, at one particular point, at one particular point, at one particular point, there may be no change in phase where the liquid present over here directly is converted into the vapor. There is no conversion in between, direct conversion. Okay. So this point, we say it as critical point. Okay. That critical point is usually about a value 0.22 ampere, somewhere the value, which I'll give you all those values. So this critical point is very, very important. This point do not have any change in your phase. Directly the conversion is going to take place from your liquid into the vapor one. And previously there was a triple point which I told you, where you have three phases meeting at single point. Do not confuse in between these 2 points. Okay, this is 0.01 degrees Celsius, and this temperature is different, maybe about 373.16 or something the temperature, and pressure is 0.22 MPa. So here there will be a specific volume also, 0.00317 somewhere the value. So these values you need to remember. I'll show you in the curve. Mostly in case of your competitive exams, they'll ask you what is the properties at your critical point. They'll be giving you a pressure, temperature, specific volume at different options. So you need to identify. This is a memory based question. You need to identify. So sometimes the questions will be memory based. Sometimes the questions will be more conceptual. Sometimes questions will be just like a definition identification. Okay. Just till now I told you the definition identification of your critical point just before, and the memory based question, and the conceptual questions will be asked such a way like, if I take a solid and if I heat it continuously to this particular temperature, so will there be a phase change, whether it is in a subcooled region or whether it is a two-phase region, whether it is in a superheated region. That kind of conceptual question will be asked mostly in case of GATE. That I'll tell you more in detail when you go with the problem solving and all those, then you will identify. Okay. So is this concept clear here? So here I'm going to draw a curve, this curve, joining all these points, the locus of all these points. Locus of all those points meeting. Okay. So let me take this as point A, and this point will reach here. This as C, B, B, C, and D. Okay. Please identify. This is the point A, starting one. This is point B. This is point C. This is point D. Okay. So what is this point A, B, C, D? I'll tell you now. So this is a point where it is in a liquid state. Where this is in a liquid state. Okay. And this is the point where it is starting into your vapor state. This is the region where it is starting its vapor state. And this is a point where it has reached into completely into vapor. This point C indicates your vapor one. And this is a dome. This is a dome in between your B and C. This is a dome. This is a two-phase region. Okay. And this is a point D where it is superheated one. This point we say it as superheated one. Because after the vapor conversion also we are continuously heating. So reaching out to the superheated region. Okay. So there will be three regions. One is we call it subcooled. Another one is as two-phase. Another one is as superheated. So where is a region which we say it as supercooled, and where is a region which is two-phase, and where is a region which is superheated? So this A to B, region, this region we call it as supercooled. This region we call it as supercooled. And this B to C is a two-phase region where you have some liquid as well as your vapor one. And this region, the C to D, we say it as superheated one. Superheated one. Okay. So how do you identify? like this graph is given, now you're saying me something like, okay, this is the reason, this is the reason. But practically, without going to the graph, also we can identify if it is in a which region. That is what the conceptual question is, that I'll tell you by going through the steam tables. So steam tables in the next coming classes, everyone has to purchase your steam table, purchase it from Amazon. You'll get it directly in the soft copy, I mean hard copy. And if you want a soft copy, already I provided that material in Teams, Google Classroom, everywhere. You have a material of the steam table. So when I'm solving the problems related to that, you have to place your steam table in front of you. Without understanding steam table, this is very difficult to solve the problems related to properties of your substance. Not only this, the extension will be in applied thermodynamics, and next we go on to the TTM. All those cases, if you are clear and identifying the steam tables here, it will be simple over there, or else it will be very difficult. Okay, so this is a region of the graphs which I shown you. Now the question comes, so how to know the phase, in which region it is? I told you the state can be identified only by knowing two independent intensive properties. So case of this from A to B, it is only in case of your liquid, only in one case, phase, that is liquid. So when it is in a phase of liquid, as the number of intensive properties which is required will be 2. Already I told you based on your Gibbs phase rule. So here 2 properties which is required is temperature and specific volume. If you know this 2, the temperature and specific volume, then you will be able to identify in which region it is, whether it is in a subcooled region, whether it is in a superheated region. 2 is required. Or else sometimes if your temperature or maybe a specific volume is not known, the other properties will be given, like enthalpy, okay, entropy, those properties will be given. Those we are not discussing right now. Those new properties will be introduced in case of your first law and second law. Okay, so if any of the 2 is required, definitely to know the region where it is. Okay, suppose if I go in this dome, this is a difficult one. Okay, in this dome, how many intensive properties is required to know the state of the system? Now you need to answer. Please, anyone. Please answer this. In this dome, how many independent intensive properties required? Someone has given answer. Sorry? 2, 3, 1. Huh? 2. 2. Everyone 2? 2 or 1 or 3? 2. Right. You are not clear with the concept, which I told you. So, if you are clear with the Gibbs phase rule, go back to the basics. Do not simply give the answer like 2, 1, 3 or something. Here, I have clearly told you this is a dome. In this region, there is a 2 phase where there is a liquid as well as vapor. When there is a 2 phase, your number of intensive properties required from Gibbs phase rule is only 1. Already I have calculated this. You are not following the concepts.
Sorry, one అని చెప్పినా.
నాకు వినబడలే, మిగతా అందరూ 2, 2 అనే చెప్తున్నారు. So here, the one property which is required is like temperature is fixed, pressure is fixed. So what is the property? I clearly mentioned you earlier itself, specific volume. If you know specific volume in the case of your region, then you can know the state of that, where it is denoted as V, the complete specific volume, or if it is in a region where it is a liquid, we denote it as Vf. Okay, if it is in a liquid, which is in a gas or vapor state, we denote it as Vg. If we denote it as Vf, it is in a liquid state, that is in a subcooled. If it is in a Vg, that is in a vapor state. Okay, And next, after the superheated region, I mean, after this dome region, in the superheated region, how many independent intensive properties are required?
Sir, where, sir?
Sorry? This region, C2D. C2D. How many independent intensive properties required? Yes,
Two, sir.
Because this is in a single phase itself. It is a vapor completely. It has been converted. So required is two. That will be like pressure, fixed temperature, as well as the specific volume. Or else before the case which I told you will be the same. Okay. So this is a TV diagram and the concept of your phase diagram of a water. Is it clear till here, everyone? Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Now I'll go through the slides. In the next class after this, I'll go with the PV diagram, and next I'll go with the PVT diagram. Okay. As of now, if it is clear till here, we'll verify these slides, and the next class we'll move on to the next concept. So coming to the slides here, which I told you the process 1 to 2 as the pressure, which is the 1 atmospheric pressure, which I told you 101.3 kPa, 1 atmospheric pressure, which is fixed. This is your state 1, and where your temperature was usually 20 degrees Celsius. I'm heating continuously. See, from here state 1 to state 2, saturated liquid. This is saturated liquid. Okay. Before that, there are some small definitions to understand. I'll show you what this. That may be the next slide. Yeah, this is the same one, or we call it as subcooled, compressed liquid or subcooled liquid. Okay, which I already told you. This region from A to B. A to B is called as compressed liquid or subcooled liquid. Okay. The second one, the process 2 to 3, where this is your case of state 2. Please look at the PPT. This is at the state 2 and this is at state 3, where the pressures, if you look at fixed, the temperature which was reached was 100 degrees Celsius. Okay, heating continuously. Where the piston rises, the volume increases. So here at the state 2, the liquid has reached the temperature at which it begins to boil, called as the saturation temperature. You may get a definition such a way like water saturation temperature. The liquid at which the temperature begins to boil, that is called as a saturation temperature. At particular temperature, that is called as a saturation temperature. The boiling temperature point at that point is called as a saturation temperature. Okay, and it is said to exist as saturated liquid. Okay, where which I told you, where the specific volumes, which is identified and given as VF. Okay, during the phase change, both temperature and pressure remains constant. And the next, when the pressure is atmosphere of 101.3, at state 3, the liquid and vapor phase are in equilibrium. Already we have told you the equilibrium points.
Sir,
Sorry?
I think screen isn't presenting, sir.
You should come back to the smart learning.
Okay, sir.
నేను అదే చెప్పాను స్లైడ్స్లో అక్కడికి రండి. ఓకే, బోర్డ్ ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేసేటప్పుడు అక్కడ నేను స్లైడ్ యూజ్ చేయను, స్లైడ్ యూజ్ చేసేటప్పుడు బోర్డ్ అక్కర్లేదు. రైట్, నెక్స్ట్ వన్, ద ప్రాసెస్ 3 to 4, which I told you earlier one, where your liquid was previously continuously has been changed into the vapor one. Their V4 converting into the VG. It has been completely converted into the vapor one. Okay. And next after this.
మీ వాయిస్ బ్రేక్ అవుతుంది సార్.
హలో, ఇప్పుడు వినిపిస్తుందా? హలో,
ఎస్ సార్.
ఐఎమ్ ఆడిబుల్ నౌ?
Yes, sir.
Just a moment. Right. So this is a 4 to 5, where at the point 5, it is in a saturated vapor region. That point C is called as a saturated vapor region. From B to C, it is a two-phase region. And at the point B is called as a saturated liquid region. Okay, saturated liquid, point B. Okay, and point D, superheated one. Okay, and next after this, which the region which I told you just before, the TV diagram. So here, if you observe the figure, see, this is the saturated liquid and this is your saturated vapor starting point, and this region is completely superheated. Okay, and this is your compressed liquid region zone. Okay, and this is your vapor mixture, two-phase region. This is your dome. This will be like in this way. Okay, this is for your 1 atmosphere. So if I go continuously, it will be in this way. Okay, so where at what point it starts continuously converting, this we say it as critical point. Okay, now small activity for you. Fill in the blank. The dash point is merely the point of intersection of sublimation and vaporization curve. The point at which a saturated liquid and saturated vapor states are identical is called dash point. So what is the first point? What is the point called here? Dash point is merely the point of intersection of sublimation and vaporization curve. It was given options over here: critical and triple point.
Critical points.
Is this a critical point? If it is fixed, then it's fine. Next is the point at which saturated liquid and saturated vapor are identical. Is it correct?
First blank, second is critical.
Yeah. There is no change in a phase. Saturated liquid and vapors are identical. Where triple point is nothing but merely the point of intersection of all those. This is correct. Okay. Moving on to the next slide. That may be the next topic. That is after the TV diagram. Next class I will start. Just before ending up, now just before which I told you, this is for one. See, if you can observe the pressures over here, 0.001 MPa. This is the region, and next is I've increased the pressure to 0.1. Next 1 MPa, 8 MPa, 15 MPa, 22 MPa, and next 25 MPa. So here, this is a point where it indicates like you have to stop heating here. You should not go further more after this critical point. So this is your maximum point. So at this critical point zone, your pressure is 22 MPa and temperature is that 374.14, and this specific volume is 0.00311 This is your specific volume. This you need to remember, this values. This is very, very important. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this is your TV diagram. Next class, we'll move on to the next one by considering the PV diagram in line to your TV diagram. Okay, that will start in the next class. So as of now, I'll stop this class at this moment. I'll go with the attendance now. So everyone give your poll. Already I've given you in the chat box.
Sir, I joined late, sir. Can you again?
ఒక్క నిమిషం ఇప్పుడే పంపిస్తాను.